quiet. I'll be
Thank
quiet, Tony,
you. Thanks.
and let you all get started because I'm hearing some audio coming in.
Yep, it's
But it's good to
11:30.
see both of you.
Good to see you. It's good to see everyone. It's 11:30, and I'd like to welcome us to the GAE Retired Lunch Bunch. We traditionally hold these meetings, as I hope you know, on the first Wednesday of each month, and they are open to all GAE members. So thank you for being a GAE member. And today we're going to talk a little bit initially about Education International, and hopefully I am sharing my screen. And if you've not
I
heard,
saw just a little bit.
pardon me,
I
if
hear you, but I don't see you.
do you see a
This is Al.
PowerPoint?
This is your.
Tony, do you see the
I
PowerPoint?
just see. I
Yes,
just see.
yes.
Well, Alton, we have a PowerPoint up on the screen about Education International. And several of us went to Buenos Aires to the 10th World Congress at the end of July, the first part of August. And I just want to share some information about Education International in general. When people say, well, what is EI, Education International? I try and just go through and say, well, it's kind of a consortium of labor unions from across the world. It's a global organization. And you can see here that hello?
Hello?
You can
You can
see
see
in
in
hmm, I should
Pardon.
not, are you getting feedback, Tony?
I just muted a couple of people. I
Okay.
think that's where it was coming from.
Thank you. You can see that there are over 380 member organizations, and one of those is the NEA, the National Education Association. In fact, we make up the largest group in EI, the largest member organization. And EI has over 32 million education employees in it, teachers and educational support personnel. And I know that in NEA and GAE language, we say education support professionals. EI has not adopted that term yet, but it is something that has been brought to their attention because this is a member-driven organization also. And you can see that it is in 178 countries and territories. And we're hopeful that they too, the leaders of EI, will adopt the wording of educational support professionals. And I'm not going to read everything that's on the screen, but hopefully that you can see through the members of EI that what is listed here as goals or what they advocate for, what EI advocates for, aligns fairly well with NEA. And that's because NEA, in crafting and being a part of Education International, has gone through and been at the forefront in leading a lot of the organization of Education International. And EI, founded in 1993, and you can see here through the history part of this that the education labor unions in the United States, AFT and NEA, were paramount. And Al Shanker from AFT is known as the founding president. And then NEA president that some of us know and remember, Mary Hatford Futrell, was the president in the founding of EI in 1993. And with the World Congresses, just going back, I didn't go back to the beginning, but you can see here, and this is where I started with EI, is with the fifth one. So I've gone through and been able and fortunate to go through all of these in these various countries on these various continents. I did not go to the virtual one in 2023. When the World Congresses first started, they were every 3 years. And then the body and the leadership decided to go to every 4 years of meeting and bringing delegates together. And then now we're at every 5 years. So the next one will be, the 11th one will be in 2029. And we don't know where yet, but the protocol for EI is to vary by the regions of Education International. So we have the Asian Pacific region, we have the American region. And so we're hoping maybe for Europe next time around, but we will see. And hopefully you too will go through and decide to be part of the the NEA delegation to Education International. So when we went to the one in Buenos Aires, there are 800 delegates and over 500 observers and guests. And I want to go through and let you know that you can see here that Georgia was well represented out of the 50 NEA participants. We had 10% being part of the Georgia delegation. You'll see Patrick there. And Demetrius Dove was actually, he's on the NEA board. He was actually a delegate, whereas Patrick, Brenda, Tony, and myself, we were observers to Education International. And hopefully, I will play this short video, about 3 minutes.
No sound.
Tony?
No sound.
Well, that is not cool. Let me just see what's going on in audio settings. And hold on 1 second. Up. Okay. Let's try again.
Nope.
Okay.
Still no sound. Did you check the box when you shared?
Oh, I probably did not. So what I'll do is we'll go on. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, I think. And we'll go through the rest of our presentation, and I'll get the audio hopefully working while other people are sharing their thoughts about EI. EI is a lot like, and I'm going to stop sharing a minute. EI is a lot like the NEA Representative Assembly. And again, if you've been to the GAE Representative Assembly, the delegates come and we hear not new business, but resolutions instead, and we vote on various resolutions. And the interesting thing to me about Education International is each country, each delegation has votes together. So it's not like.
Did we lose Karen? I think we did. All right. So let's move forward. And Brenda, are you there? Brenda Montgomery.
Yes.
Hey, you want to go ahead and talk to us about how one becomes a part of the EI delegation and experience?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. First of all, good morning to everybody. Salutations. I would like to probably interject this. It's like a big church meeting When I was little, they used to have this thing called a big meeting. They would have revival all week. And on Sunday, they would conclude where all the churches came together. They brought supper and you fellowship and you mingle with one another. Now, for the process, you are invited first. After you receive the invitation, you go through the process of filling out the application, paying your money, and then submitting your forms. After you submit everything, you're given a code, a reference number. After the reference number, you wait for a little while and they send you the congratulatory letter saying that you are either a delegate or an official observer, like we were. Make your hotel reservations and coordinate it with when it starts and when it ends. NEA does a wonderful job of pairing people that don't have a roommate. I was very fortunate. I met my roommate during the RA, and she was just marvelous. I mean, marvelous, and we got along well. Prior to departure, um, the NEA staff is made aware of your travels and what time you're going to be there. I think I would go to person was Lisa Zimmerman. She did a wonderful job. Her and Daya and Noel. Okay. You receive information about your country that you're going to visit. You make sure that you have the requirements for entering that country, your health information and evacuation, vaccinations. Make sure you take your medicine. With your air travel, best thing to do is go a day early, stay a day late. Okay. Some of you might use travel insurance, which is also good. We stayed at a wonderful hotel. The staff was nice, and there were plenty of restaurants, and we also had a daily briefing of the NEA staff. They tell you what to do and what not to do. They bus you to and from the convention center. And with meeting with the caucus every morning, NEA also plans what can I several activities for you. One is the opening ceremony, which is usually very, very outstanding. Another one would be our farewell dinner. And I know Tony, Patrick, and Karen could agree with you. I know Tony does not have anything to compare it to, but for the rest of us, that was the best farewell dinner we had ever had. And they always present you with a gift. And this year we got an Argentinian blanket. When you go to the convention center every day, okay, they give you a headphone set so you could easily translate what is being said. All the meetings are conducted by the head of EI. They provide you lunch. I wasn't too enthused about the lunch, people, because y'all know I'm a picky eater. They give you information about tipping, converting money, being registered with the embassy, having your telephone service, your internet, NEA policies. We have breakout sessions, which were very good. One session I attended was the retention of new teachers. And you also have constitution and bylaws, resolution, elections, and your pre-conference meetings. And I'm trying to think what else. I wrote my notes down. Higher education, women caucus, LGBTQ. You really have a lot of different things. Then one night you have what kind of party was it? It's like when we used to have the friendship parties, and that was nice. And the closing exercises was pretty much in line with the opening ceremony. We were given an official roster of who was in there, who is there, the World Congress policy, the schedule, and what resolutions that we needed to support and what resolutions we needed not to support. I was impressed. Dominic Doe spoke. A brilliant young man, and everybody needs to embrace him and all our new emerging leaders. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. And one of the things that I'd like to bring up, if I may, Brenda, is that you need to understand that if you are not an official delegate, but an observer like we were, this is something you do at your own expense. The only thing that NEA provides is part of your registration fee. But everything else, your air travel, your hotel, your meals, the cost of your passport, all of that, if you are an observer, that is all at your own expense. But it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
It is definitely worth it.
Yes. All right, I'm going to try to play the video and hopefully you will be able to hear it that Karen was going to play. I'm trying to get in touch with her to see if she's okay, but she might have had a power outage or something. So let's see if this will play. And those are just some highlights of the there we go. Those are just some highlights of the proceedings. It was exciting. There was joy. There was some contentious debate. There were people who left very happy. There were people who left not as completely satisfied. But it was a gathering of unionists from all over the world. And there was generally an air of consensus and understanding. People tried to be sensitive to each other's cultures. It was a great experience. So what we're supposed to talk about next is our initial takeaway about being in Buenos Aires. So I'll leave that to Patrick and Brenda, and I've already told you how I felt about the proceedings. So Patrick?
Thank you, Tony. The first thing I noticed arriving in Buenos Aires was how wide it is. I mean, I did not find very many indigenous people. I think in the hotel we had one black server, and I'm darker than most of them. And I thought that was kind of odd, but it just begs me to go learn more about their history and how things happen. But the other thing is that although this is my third one, you see the same people over and over and over, and you develop relationships. And I think that is something that you can really take with you and you never forget.
Brenda, what's one takeaway you have, or some takeaways you have from your experience in Buenos Aires?
One of the takeaways that is most meaningful to me is it's the fellowship. You see so many people from different countries that you don't even know about, but you get a chance to learn about them, and you get to learn, and they get to learn about you. One of the other things that I took away was the culture of the people of Buenos Aires. And as we know, it was winter there. And one day it was just extremely cold. I got a chance to do some sightseeing. I went on a wine tour. I did some shopping. I came away with an official poncho. So it was just so many things that encompassed the trip that I'll have memories for the rest of my life.
Karen, we're talking about our takeaways from Buenos Aires, so it's your turn.
And apologies to the group. My technology just decided to have the biggest burp that I've ever seen. So I apologize for that. Two things happened for me. Just number one, there was the experience of going to Buenos Aires and going to South America. I'd not been to that continent before. And then the secondary is obviously going to the World Congress. And I think from both of them is that just the building of relationships, and people are people. Like when you sit around and you have good food and good company, and people are trying to get along, and it gives me hope for the human race, that we really don't want all the conflicts. We really do want to be civil individuals to one another. So going and doing the traveling always just reinforces that building relationships is such an important skill. And really, we really do want what's best for our fellow human beings. So thanks, Tony.
Yeah, I agree with what all of you said, and I have to say that one thing I came away with was just I was in awe of how kind and friendly the people of Buenos Aires were. I have medical needs that sometimes make me get a little winded, and we were walking through the market, and I was walking through the market, and a young man who was in a shop saw me and I didn't look well, and he called me over and cleared a stool for me to sit down. And we just talked. And he wouldn't let me leave until he felt sure that I was okay. And our service was so kind and personable and helpful. And even when there were language differences, everyone was friendly and everyone was concerned for our comfort and our well-being. So that's what I take away. One of the things we also want to talk about is one of the reasons we chose to go to this particular EI World Congress. So who would like to start?
I
I'll
can
start.
start. Okay, you can go ahead.
Thanks, Patrick. I'm an EI junkie at this point in time, meaning having, I think this was number 5 as I showed on the other slide. And I like traveling, number 1, engaging with people of different cultures, number 2, and the fact that there is this world education organization and that there are so many, 380-ish education labor unions from across the world. It's the feeling that we are not alone. And then through the sharing of the stories at EI, when people would go to the microphone, and sometimes from the smaller delegations, people would monopolize the microphone and go for the maximum time allowed to speak. And it really was their quote, 15 minutes of fame, which translates into a much shorter time. But that was the most important thing in the world for them at that moment, was to be on camera, and they will take that recording back to their country and share it. And it will be a big deal in especially the impoverished, the third world countries. And so hearing people speak about what their situations are back home, again, especially from the smaller delegations. Yes, the American education system has concerns and problems. However, there are education in the world has problems that are much more severe than what's going on in the United States, in my humble opinion. Thanks for allowing me to share.
Patrick?
Thank you, Tony. You never know who you're going to meet and what impact they're going to make on you or you make on them. Back in when I went to the one in Ottawa, I was just running a booth for NEA and being kind, and this lady called me out, and one gave me a sand painting because she said, nobody showed me the kindness that you do. So I go back, hoping to see her again. In the second one, I helped Nadine Malloy from Jamaica run for a seat. Well, I want to see her again. And so, sure enough, I had my red jacket on. She recognized, I was hoping you'd be here. Oh, hey. She said, will you help me get reelected again? I said, sure will. And then I was walking by these ladies from Gambia, not Gambia, one of the towns, I can't remember. And it's like they wanted to say something to me so badly. And then I said, I'm going to just speak to them. How are you? And they turned out to be the nicest, friendliest. I told them, I said, I know you're the troublemakers. And they said, why do you say that? I said, because I'm one, I recognize it in you. but that developed a relationship. So hopefully when I go back to the next one, I will see one of these people again, because you never know, like I said earlier, who you touch and who touches you. And I just find that it's just a lot of fun, a lot of work, and a lot of important stuff to do. Thank you.
Brenda?
Uh, I guess the most memorable moment for me was we were getting ready to get on the bus, and we had a lot of top brass from the United States Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines. And one of the gentlemen said to me, I understand there's a lot of teachers here from the United States. And I said, yes. And he was explaining to me his purpose for being there, and which was a collaboration with Argentina and the United States about some space travel. Anyway, big mouth me, just talking. And I said, well, let me get a picture because nobody will believe me. So they insisted that I be in the picture. And I told them, thank you for your service. And one of them said, no, thank you, because it had not been for you and other teachers, we would not be where we are. Thank you.
Yes. I chose to go for lots of reasons. This was my first, and I have a deep concern about the education of girls and women, and about conditions for educators around the world, because as Karen said, we have first world problems here. We do not have classrooms with 90 or 100 students in them. We do not work in a place where we could be arrested for belonging to a union, at least not yet. We are in a position that the world watches us, and NEA is the biggest player in EI. We have the biggest delegation, and we are the largest monetary contributors to these efforts. And many of our officers or former officers or officers in EI, Becky Pringle was elected to take Lily Eskelson Garcia's place as the North American Caribbean area chair. And the general counsel, the general secretary, who's like the executive director of EI, is a former NEA. So my reason for going was to hear what the world had to say. And also, I am what George Bush called so many decades ago a union thug. I believe in unions. I believe very deeply in the need and the power that unions have. And I fully understand that unions are under attack all over the world. And I wanted to know how our union siblings were faring around the world. And believe me, many of them, their lives are in danger. They're being imprisoned and disappeared. And so that's the reason I wanted to go. And if I'm still around 5 years from now, I'll go again. Patrick, what transpired at the World Congress?
Okay, can you take down this so I can share my screen? Thank
All
you.
done.
Okay, first thing, I want to talk about the Education International elections. EI President Susan Hopgood, who was amazing as leaders, was term limited, and Magwena Malaliki was elected as her successor. EI General Secretary David Edwards, who Tony was mentioning earlier, was reelected. Vice President from North America and Caribbean, Lily Eskelson Garcia, termed out, and Becky Pringle was elected. Evelyn De Jesus of AFT was elected to an open seat. Now I'm going to share some of the stuff that we did that you're going to find very interesting. Here are the categories for the resolutions that we considered, and I consider the ones that are most common with everybody. There are a few more, but these directly impacted almost every country. Growing our unions, working stronger together. 2, building professional and union agency from the bottom up. Boy, isn't that something we hear? Elevating our profession. We're tackling the teacher shortage. Technology, artificial intelligence and the future of the teaching profession. Data collection and privacy in education. Protecting higher education and research staff from attacks on academic freedom. We talk about education support personnel. Defending democracy against right-wing populism and extremism in education. Education, health, and wealth inequalities, pandemic recovery. Solidarity for education and education for solidarity. Organizing against political and ideological attacks on academic freedom and institutional autonomy. That is the British spelling for organizing, not a misspelling. Curriculum in the fight against fascism. Ensuring equality. Asserting and defending indigenous peoples' rights within and through trade unionism. Addressing hair discrimination and culture bias in education. Condemning the rise of anti-global LGBTQIA and ideology from the far right, combating climate change and advancing environment justice for our most vulnerable students and communities, promoting peace, the effort of war on education and children, education and well-being of children during the periods of military conflict. Then there were specific things to Ukraine, Gaza, Haiti, Argentina, and Guatemala that were specific to them, but I found it very interesting. I don't know if any of you noticed what I noticed several years ago, and I still see their education issues are no different in any country than they are here. We have a universal bond together that everybody's coming after education because why? When you educate, you challenge the status quo, you challenge dictators, you challenge anybody that will try to destroy a person's freedom because it's all about control for them. But I found this very interesting and that we had some very good discussion and most of these passed unanimously, very little dissension. With that, I'm through. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Patrick. To close out, we invite you to understand that October 5th will be World Teachers Day, valuing teachers' voices, and that the goal of EI and all of its members is that everyone have the opportunity to teach and to learn in peace. So is there one word that sums up your experience with EI before we take questions? And we're only going to take questions for a couple of minutes because we do have to talk about SHBP.
Well, I would just like to say it's awesome.
Solidarity.
Connectedness.
Life-changing. All right. Are there any questions from anyone about the experience of EI or how you can get involved? Any questions? You can just unmute yourself and speak. We're a small enough group. Okay. Now we're going to talk about something that affects your pocketbook, your life. and that is the changes that are being put forward by the state health benefits plan for our Medicare Advantage opportunities. October 15th through November 8th marks the retiree option choice period for us to choose whether we want to continue the Medicare Advantage program that we currently have or select another one, because the cost of these programs will change dramatically. And what you need to understand is if between October 15th and November 8th, you do not actively go in and make a selection either online or by telephoning, then you will be automatically placed in the lowest cost option, which is the lowest tier of Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So let's understand that we either have to go online to myshbpga.adp.com or call 1-800-610-1863. And of course, we're going to, this is being recorded, so you can jot down the dates and you can jot down the phone number, but you will have access to this recording. It is an active enrollment period. You must make a vendor selection or you will be placed in the lowest cost option plan, which may or may not cover your needs, especially if you have pre-existing conditions.
And it may or may not be the current plan you're in.
Exactly.
So you might be switched to a different provider, and you'll go in December, or the beginning of next year, you'll go, what do you mean I'm in? I thought I was in from the vendors. So this is really serious.
The decision you make should not be made in isolation. One of the things you need to do is to talk to your healthcare providers about what your insurance currently covers and whether or not they even accept Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield Medicare Advantage. And you also need to understand that you want some anecdotal information too. So you want to talk to other people who might have a different provider than you have to see what their experiences have been. For myself, I know that I need to change to a higher tier, which will be extremely expensive for me, but I'm a cancer patient. I require medication that costs a lot. And so I need to make sure that all of that medication is going to be covered. You need to do the same. Our pharmacy vendor will remain the same, and our wellness vendor will remain the same. Here's
Tony, could you go back to the 1-800 number? I think everybody really needs to get that one.
Yes. 1-800-610-1863.
Thank you.
You can start calling on October 15th. Here's what you need to understand. SHBP is moving to level dollar subsidy across all vendors and plans. So there will be an increase for the lowest cost standard plan, which is Anthem Blue Cross lowest tier, to $20 to match the 2020 rate. Medicare Advantage members' premiums for the standard plan will be $20 a month. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage standard plan option will be $82.59 a month. It used to be $0. So that is dramatic. It used to be no dollars. And now the standard option will be $82.59 a month. Members pay the full cost difference to buy up to United Healthcare Standard, and Anthem, and United Healthcare Premium Plan. Members who fail to plan an election will default into the lowest cost plan, which is this one, Anthem Standard. For me, my costs will go from $0 to $218.39 a month. All right, so this is a historical perspective of what the plans cost previously. You see here that for 2021, 22, 23, and 24, United Healthcare was $0 for their standard Medicare Advantage plan. And now their plan for standard will go up to almost $90. And this is the same thing. This is urgent. This is important. If you do not make a selection actively during the open enrollment period, either by going online or calling, you will automatically be placed in the lowest tier Anthem plan, and you cannot change it until the fall of 2025. So please talk to your medical providers, find out what your insurance needs are. Please make sure that you make an informed decision. Please get anecdotal information from your friends and colleagues. It is crucial. It is crucial. So here's a repetition of that slide with the contact information. I'll give you a minute to write down the web address, and I'll give you a minute to write down the telephone number again. There are some virtual meetings planned. They are in our In the Loop newsletter, but you can also go to the SHBP website. Brenda, your hand is raised.
Yes. Medicare Advantage. Is that a different plan from Medicaid?
Medicare Advantage is a supplement to your Medicare coverage that you qualified for when you turned the qualifying age. So
Okay.
what some Medicare Advantage plans offer is dental, for like oral surgery, vision for like glaucoma screening and cataract surgery. Some Medicare Advantage plans offer expanded prescription benefits. Not everyone chooses a Medicare Advantage plan. They just go with straight Medicare, and you should have gotten your Medicare information guide in the mail last week from the government, and you should have gotten the SHBP choice guide also. So if you haven't done that, go to the website and download the choice guide. Patrick, your hand is up.
And
Yes,
before
I was just
Patrick,
going to say the same. I'm sorry, just real quick. I received my book yesterday. I mean, day before yesterday. So I'm sure everyone should be getting a book anytime soon explaining what all the changes are. Thank you.
and
Right.
my always caution is please stay on some form of the state health benefit plan. If you decide to go rogue, if you decide, oh, they're sending me this looks good, and you go off the state health benefit plan, you cannot get back on unless you go back into the class or back into the education profession and as an active member. So if you think, oh, this one's cheaper and I'll get off, we have some of the best health care in the state. So please don't go off.
Please don't leave state health benefits plan. Nobody can match them. You will be getting so much mail, so many phone calls about Medicare Advantage plans, and it'll all sound so terrific. But if you lay out what SHBP offers us through their negotiations with these vendors, they will admit readily that they can't match it. And one of the biggest things is that they pay out-of-network doctors the same as they pay in-network doctors. And no one else in this country does that, except for some union negotiated Medicare Advantage plans like we have here. So it is really, really critical, guys, that you make sure that you maintain membership in SHBP. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah.
So this does not have nothing to do with your regular insurance. It's just the Advantage plan. Am I correct?
That is your regular insurance.
Okay.
As a retiree, your Medicare Advantage plan is your regular insurance. And not everyone chose Medicare Advantage. Not everyone stayed with SHBP. Some people went with private companies, and so you can't get back into SHBP.
All right. So help me understand this. I have state health benefit plan.
Mhm.
I have that Medicaid or Medicare they take out with the Social Security check. So what is this Advantage plan?
Medicare Advantage is a private insurance company that adds to your
Okay.
Medicare coverage.
Okay. And it's something you have to take out and pay for.
Yes, it comes
Okay.
out of your TRS check. It comes out of your TRS check.
All right, I got you now.
Okay.
So
Any
I
other questions?
understand this.
Right. Some people chose not to do that. If you pay Medicare premiums, that's Medicare, but then you also have your Medicare Advantage premiums through SHBP that comes
Oh,
out for
that's
TR.
an extra insurance policy.
Yes, it's an extra insurance supplement.
A supplement. Okay, I got you.
Yes, it's not an insurance policy, it is a Medicare supplement.
Okay. It's a supplement.
Okay,
That's
I have a question. I have a
Yes.
question. Yes, I have been with United Healthcare for a while, and so now I'm noticing the change in fees and all that. So will that come out of your pension?
Yes, that will come out of your pension.
Okay,
You
that's what
won't have to write a check every month. It comes directly out of your TRS
I
payment.
see.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Tony, for sharing about that. As we close out here, I'm going to just share some highlights, if that's okay, from the In the Loop or monthly or bi-monthly electronic newsletter. If you're not receiving that, I'm hopeful Tony will put her contact information in the chat, and please contact Tony because as a GAE retired member or pre-retired member, you should be receiving this. Just a quick reminder of our Read for Ed on Wednesday. Big date of next week of October 7th. Go through, please, and I'm hoping I'm speaking to the choir and everybody here is registered to vote. Don't make eye contact if you're not. But go online also and check and make sure you have not become one of the purged in on the voter roster. So just double check because we need to vote like our lives depend on it. And as Becky Pringle, NEA president, says, we need to win all things in this election. Also, TRS is going through and putting together some more seminars. And so this is one happening next week about healthcare decisions in open enrollment. So this might be a good place to go through and get some more information as the open enrollment period starts. And when you get this newsletter, if you'll click on each of the graphics, it'll send you to more information in the link. And you can see here that TRS is sponsoring some other things with health, wealth, and then with Social Security. So just keep those in mind. Again, register to vote. There are the deadlines. Early voting is going to start on October 15th. We are having a contest with another battleground state. And when I say we, it's the GAE-Retired organization. And so part of the get out the vote strategy from GAE-Retired is to, in essence, teach one, reach one, but this is reach out to 10. So please go through and click on this form and contact 10 people that you know you can make sure that they vote in this upcoming election. And then you're going to ask those 10 people to do the same thing. And between Arizona and Georgia, after the general election, whoever has the most people listed on this Google form, we're going to have bragging rights. And so I know Patrick wants to, as state GAE-Retired president, he wants to be among the braggadocious. So please take a look at that. If you know someone who would go through and be good to help craft the new GACE assessments, again, if you'll click on this, you can apply yourself, you can nominate colleagues. TRS had a meeting last week. Lisa Underwood is the GAE-Retired TRS monitoring chair. Her TRS reports are stellar. TRS, one of the best public retirement systems in the nation, had the highest rate of return in the 14% on its investment last year. So we got national recognition for that. Again, information about the state health benefit plan, and you can click and on this particular link and you'll have access to the PowerPoint Tony just showed you. And then open to all GAE members. If you're not aware of the fall leadership conference in a couple weeks from now, I invite you to go through and click and attend. It's going to be exciting. You'll be in the know about things professionally and personally concerning GAE. And so there, as one of the chairs for the IPD, Instructional Professional Development Committee, there will be sessions that there is something for all GAE members, not just active members. If you didn't receive your membership card, you should contact Tony about that. And the last thing, even though there's more, there's more. We are at the end of our time. Please send this information about our next pre-retirement seminar, free Saturday mornings, virtual via Zoom, November 2nd, to all of your friends and colleagues, members and non-members who are within 5 years of retirement. We offer, if you've been through these seminars, you know they contain a wealth of information about the most important thing that you'll do in your life, and that is become a retired member from public education. So with that, at 12:31, I thank all the presenters today. Tony, thank you for running tech today. I appreciate you. And thank you for being here. We do not have a speaker yet for our November meeting. I'm waiting to hear back from several invitations. And if you ever have a suggestion for a speaker for GAE-Retired Lunch Bunch, please let Tony or me know. And with that, be safe, be well, and thank you for being here today. And thank you for everything you do and have done for public education. Have a great day. Enjoy your fall.
Great job, Tony and Karen. Y'all are amazing.
Have a great day. Karen, you
I
want to?
second that.
Thank you. You want to stay on, Karen?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, friends.
Thank you,
Good to see
Sheila.
you.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Tony.
Good to see everybody. Take care.
Good
Thank
to see
you.
you all too. Good to see you all too.
Hey, Richard, it's good to see you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Great information.
Alton, you can just click that little red door down there in the lower right corner, and that'll take you out.
Okay, my dear.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Tiana, I forgot. What are we working on?
Oh, I didn't know we were.
Oh, I thought we were going to work on how to do something. Uh, oh, oh, I can't remember, so never mind.
I want to say again, thank you for carrying on. If anybody could, I knew, but my whole system just decided to go wacko. I'm not even sure. Microsoft didn't even know why it
Oh,
decided to go
wow.
wacko. So, oh, I should stop recording.